So dear students, as you know, already concerned with this anatomy of flowering plant, concerned with the anatomy of flowering plant, initially we have come across meaning of anatomy. Followed by that, I introduced classification of plant tissues. Plant tissues are broadly classified into two groups: meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Followed by meristem, we have come across permanent tissue. Under permanent tissues, there are two main groups are there. One is simple permanent tissue, another one is complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissues are of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Under complex permanent tissues, I come across two types: xylem and phloem. Followed by that, I introduced tissue system. A collection of tissues performing the same general function is called as tissue system. Collection of tissues performing the same general function is called as tissue system. Under tissue system, there are three types are there. One is epidermal tissue system, second is ground tissue system, third is vascular tissue system. Under a tissue system, there are three types are there: epidermal, ground tissue system and vascular tissue system. Already last class I covered vascular tissue system. Under that we have come across vascular bundles, radial and conjoint. Under conjoint I covered two types: open and closed type. Followed by that I covered even the ground tissue system. Today look over epidermal tissue system. Epidermal tissue system is derived from protoderm. Epidermal tissue system is derived from protoderm. This protoderm word we have come across while explaining meristematic tissue. Apical meristem, intercalary meristem, lateral meristem. While explaining these meristems, I covered the term protoderm. Protoderm will give rise to epidermal tissue system. It is the outer covering of the plant body. Epidermal tissue system is the outer covering of the plant body. Actually, this epidermal tissue system includes epidermis. It includes epidermis, stomata and epidermal apparatus. That apparatus includes hair and emergence. This epidermal tissue system is derived from protoderm. It covers outer part of the plant body. Our epidermal tissue system is the outer cover of the plant body. It includes epidermis, stomata and epidermal apparatus. That epidermal apparatus includes hair and emergence. This emergence is not mentioned for your syllabus. Now first look over epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Cells are living. Cells have vacuolated cytoplasm. Is having vacuolated cytoplasm. Due to presence of this vacuole, cytoplasm is present towards the periphery. Cells are compactly arranged. Okay, look over here. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Cells are living. Each cell has an vacuolated cytoplasm. Previously, we have come across the meaning of vacuole. Membrane-bound spaces present inside the cytoplasm is called as vacuole. Membrane-bound spaces present inside the cytoplasm is called as vacuole. I covered even cytoplasm also. Protoplasm minus nucleoplasm is nothing but cytoplasm. So epidermis is the outermost layer. Cells are living. Cell has vacuolated cytoplasm. Due to presence of large vacuole, cytoplasm is present towards the periphery. Periphery is nothing but towards the boundary. So due to presence of vacuole, cytoplasm is pushed towards the periphery. Cells are compactly arranged or tightly arranged without any intercellular space. Cells are tightly arranged or compactly arranged without any intercellular space. Another point you have to remember for competitive examination, epidermis may be uniseriate. Epidermis may be uniseriate or multiseriate. Uniseriate means it is made up of single layer. Multiseriate means it is made up of two or more layers. Example for multiseriate is nerium and ficus. Go here. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Second character, cells are living. Each cell has an vacuolated cytoplasm. Due to presence of this vacuole, cytoplasm is pushed towards periphery. Cells are tightly arranged or compactly arranged without any intercellular space. Cells are tightly arranged or compactly arranged without any intercellular space. Epidermis may be uniseriate or multiseriate. Uniseriate means it is made up of single layer. Multiseriate means it is made up of two or many layers. Example for multiseriate is nerium and ficus. Nerium and ficus. In Kannada it is called as Kanigil Huvu. Nerium and ficus. So move to one more character. Outer wall of the epidermis will show a thin waxy coat. Outer wall of the epidermis will show a thin waxy coat known as cuticle. Cuticle will check the rate of transpiration. Look over the point. Outer wall of the epidermis will show a thin waxy coat known as cuticle. Cuticle will check the rate of transpiration. Back to your lower classes where I come across this word transpiration. Loss of water in the form of water vapor, loss of water in the form of water vapor through the aerial parts of the plant body is called as transpiration. Loss of water in the form of water vapor through the aerial parts of the plant body is called as transpiration. Next matter is related to stomata. Next matter is related to stomata. Stomata are the minute openings. Stomata are the minute openings present on the surface of the young stem and leaves. Stomata are the minute openings present on the surface of the young stem and leaves. Or instead of that, you can also utilize the term leaf. Okay. Stomatas are the minute openings present on the surface of the young stem and leaves or leaf. Okay? Stomata actually includes guard cells, stoma, subsidiary cells, epidermal cells. Now look over the stomatal apparatus. Stoma, guard cell and subsidiary cells, stoma, guard cell and subsidiary cell together constitute stomatal apparatus. Stoma, guard cell and subsidiary cell together constitute stomatal apparatus. Stoma is surrounded by two highly specialized modified parenchyma known as guard cells. Stoma is surrounded by two specialized cells known as guard cells. Guard cells are kidney shaped in case of dicot, dumbbell shaped in case of monocot. Please remember this point for CET purpose. We'll repeat the matter. Stomata are the minute openings present on the surface of the young stem and leaf. Present on the surface of the young stem and leaf. Stoma, or you can call it as a stomatal pore, stoma, guard cells and subsidiary cell together constitute stomatal apparatus. Stoma is surrounded by two specialized cells known as guard cells. Please remember one point for CET purpose. Guard cells are kidney shaped in case of dicot, dumbbell shaped in case of monocot. Guard cells are kidney shaped or bean shaped in case of dicot, dumbbell shaped in case of monocot. Inner wall of the guard cell, facing the pore is thick and less elastic. Inner wall of the guard cell facing the pore is thick and less elastic, whereas outer wall is thin and more elastic. You know already, elasticity or elastic means capacity to return back. Capacity to return back to its normal length and form when the force is removed. Elasticity means capacity to return back to its normal length and form when the force is removed. Inner wall of the guard cell facing the pore is thick and less elastic, whereas outer wall is thin and more elastic. One more point you have to remember concerned with the guard cell, it is having an vacuolated cytoplasm. It is having vacuolated cytoplasm. Due to presence of vacuole, cytoplasm is pushed towards or cytoplasm is present towards periphery. Cytoplasm contains chloroplast. Guard cell is having a vacuolated cytoplasm. Due to presence of this large vacuole, cytoplasm is present towards the periphery or boundary or border or edges. It contains chloroplast. Already I covered this point, chloroplast. Plastids are the cellular organelles present only in the plant cells. This matter already we have come across even in your lower classes. Plastids are the cellular organelles present only in the lower animals, especially euglena and higher plants. It is present in almost all the plants and euglena. I will discuss this matter later in Cell, the Unit of Life. Plastids are the cellular organelles present only in the plant cell and some members of euglenoids. They are of three types: leucoplast, chromoplast, chloroplast. Chloroplast are the cellular organelles which contain chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green color pigment. So this chloroplast will regulate stomatal movement. Opening and closing of the stoma is called as stomatal movement. Opening and closing of the stoma is called as stomatal movement. Generally, stomata will open during daytime and closes during night time. Look over all the matter carefully. Stomatas are the minute openings present on the surface of the young stem and leaf. Stomatal apparatus includes stoma, guard cell and subsidiary cells. Stoma is surrounded by two specialized cells known as guard cells. Guard cells are kidney shaped in case of dicot and dumbbell shaped in case of monocot. Guard cell is having an vacuolated cytoplasm. Due to presence of this vacuole, cytoplasm is present towards the periphery. It is present towards the periphery, but cytoplasm contains chloroplast. This chloroplast will regulate, or guard cells will regulate opening and closing of the stoma. Opening and closing of the stoma is called as stomatal movement. Generally, stoma will open during daytime and closes during night time. But the epidermal cells which are present adjacent to the guard cells are called as subsidiary cells, which are also specialized in size and shape. The cells which are present adjacent to the guard cells are called as subsidiary cells, which are also specialized in size and shape. Which are also specialized in size and shape. And last point, you have to remember function of this stoma. It helps in the exchange of gases. Stomata helps in the exchange of gases produced during photosynthesis, and respiration, and also involved in the process of transpiration. Correct? Function of stomata. It helps in the exchange of gases. Produced during photosynthesis and respiration. So the two gases which are exchanged is oxygen and carbon dioxide. It is also involved in transpiration. Already I put forward the definition of transpiration. Loss of water in the form of water vapor through the aerial parts of the plant body is called as transpiration. Loss of water in the form of water vapor through the aerial parts of the plant body is called as transpiration. That ends stomata. Next matter is hair and emergence. As already I mentioned, emergence is not mentioned for your syllabus. Only you have to study hair. So hair includes actually trichome and root hair. Okay, they are of two types. Or you are going to study two types of hair. One is root hair and another one is trichomes. Look our first trichome. They are unicellular or multicellular, branched or unbranched, soft or stiff, glandular or non-glandular. Here. So under here you are going to study root hair and trichomes. First look over trichome, then I will introduce root hair. Trichomes may be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular means it is made up of single cell, whereas multicellular means it is made up of many cells. Unicellular means it is made up of single cell. Multicellular means it is made up of many cells. Branched or unbranched, soft or stiff, soft or it may be a hard, glandular or non-glandular. Glandular means they produces secretions. Non-glandular means they will not produce any secretions. Trichomes are unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular means it is made up of single cell. Multicellular means it is made up of many cells. Branched or unbranched. They may be soft or stiff. They may be glandular or non-glandular hair. Now question arises, what is the function of trichome? They will check the rate of transpiration. They will check the rate of transpiration. Last matter is root hair. Already once we have come across this root hair in morphology of flowering plants. Okay. When the sir is explaining the longitudinal section of the root showing root cap, region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, region of maturation. Region of maturation can be easily identified based on the presence of unicellular root hair. Back to morphology of flowering plant. Under the guidance of Gururajan sir, we have come across this matter, longitudinal section or vertical section of the root showing root cap, region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, region of maturation. Region of maturation is easily identified based on the presence of unicellular root hair. Root hair are the unicellular outgrowth. Root hair are the unicellular outgrowth of certain cells of epidermal. Root hair are the unicellular outgrowth of certain cells of epidermal. Root hair absorbs water and mineral salts from the soil. They absorb water and mineral salts from the soil. Actually, mineral salts includes many types. Later, we will come to this matter. Few examples are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, zinc, boron, molybdenum, etc. Look over here. Root hair are the unicellular outgrowth of certain cells of epiderma. Unicellular outgrowth of certain cells of epiderma. It absorbs water and mineral salts from the soil. Actually, mineral salts includes carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, zinc, boron, molybdenum, etc. Okay, so that ends the tissue system. Under tissue system, please remember I covered vascular tissue system where I come across vascular bundles, radial, conjoint. Under that two types, open and closed. Ground tissue includes parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Followed by that, today I come across epidermal tissue system. It includes epidermis, stomata and stomatal apparatus. That stomatal apparatus includes hair and emergence. Okay, hair and emergence. Emergence is not mentioned for your syllabus. Only you have to remember hair. And if you are not followed, then also don't worry because the detailed matter is there in next internal structures. Dear students, now look over the next matter, internal structure of dicot stem. Internal structure of dicot stem. Total 6 internal structures they are put forward in your NCERT syllabus. First, I would like to introduce dicot stem. Followed by that, I will cover secondary growth in dicot stem. Followed by that, you are going to study internal structure of the monocot stem. Followed by that, I will introduce root. Then you are going to study internal structure of the root. Followed by that, you are going to study secondary growth in root. Followed by that, lastly, I will introduce internal structure of the leaf. So take care, it is little bit lengthy. Okay. So now look over the internal structure of the dicot stem. When you take the transverse section of a young dicot stem, you will get three regions, namely epidermis, second cortex, and third is stele. So look over here. When you take the transverse section of a young dicot stem, you will get three regions: epidermis, cortex, and stele. So this is ground plan. Of internal structure of the dicot stem. It is a ground plan, out of which they have expanded 25% of the total figure. The same ground plan, but they have enlarged 25% of the figure. Actually, it is little bit complicated one. Okay, it is a complicated picture. Instead of that, better you refer NCERT figure. Okay. Now, first I will switch over to epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost layer. Epidermis is the outermost layer. It is made up of barrel-shaped cells. Cells are tightly arranged or compactly arranged without any intercellular space. Epidermis is the outermost layer. It is made up of barrel-shaped cells. Cells are tightly arranged or compactly arranged without any intercellular space. Outer wall of the epidermis will show thin waxy coat known as cuticle. Outer wall of the epidermis will show thin waxy coat known as cuticle. Cuticle not only check the rate of transpiration but also gives protection. So look over here. When you take the transverse section of a young dicot stem, you will get three regions, namely epidermis, cortex, and stele. Epidermis is the outermost layer, which is made up of barrel-shaped cells. Cells are tightly arranged or compactly arranged without any intercellular space. Outer wall of the epidermis will show a thin waxy coat known as cuticle. Cuticle will check the rate of transpiration. Some of the epidermal cells are drawn into stem hair. Some of the epidermal cells are drawn into hair known as stem hair, or instead of that you can call it as a trichomes. Most of the students are get confused with this function of trichomes. Dear students, please remember the function of trichome. It will check the rate of transpiration. But most of the students will write it absorbs water and mineral salts from the soil. Actually, they are stem hair. How they are going to absorb water and mineral salts from the soil? Okay. So please remember the function of stem hair or trichome. It will check the rate of transpiration. Please remember it will not absorb water and mineral salts from the soil. So that ends epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost layer made up of barrel-shaped cells. Cells are compactly arranged without any intercellular space. Some of the epidermal cells are drawn into trichomes that will check the rate of transpiration. Outer wall of the epidermis will show a thin waxy coat known as cuticle. Okay, it will also check the rate of transpiration. Please remember, epidermis is single layer. In this case, epidermis is single layer. Next matter is cortex. Next matter is cortex. The region which is present in between epidermis and stele is known as cortex. The region present in between epidermis and stele is known as cortex. So look over, very simple matter. The region present in between epidermis and stele is known as cortex. It is further differentiated into three types. It is further differentiated into three zones, namely hypodermis, middle cortex, and endodermis. Hypodermis is the outermost layer, whereas endodermis is the innermost layer of cortex. So don't get confused with those all linings. Look over here. The region present in between epidermis and stele is known as cortex. It is further differentiated into three zones: hypodermis, middle cortex, and endodermis. Hypodermis is the outermost layer of the cortex, whereas endodermis is the innermost layer of cortex. Now first look over hypodermis. The name hypodermis is derived from Greek. Hypo means below, derma means layer. Hypodermis is the outermost layer of the cortex, or just below the epidermis. Hypodermis is present. Just below the epidermis, hypo means below. Just below the epidermis, hypodermis is present. It is made up of 3 to 4 layers of colon-chymatous cells. As you know already, in case of colon-chyma, corner walls are thickened. Main function of the colon-chyma is to provide protection. Just below the epidermis, hypodermis is present, or it is the outermost layer of the cortex. It is made up of 3 to 4 layers of colon-chymatous cells. Colon-chyma is also called as living mechanical tissue. Based on that, you can easily guess that this hypodermis will give mechanical support. The region present in between hypodermis and endodermis is called as middle cortex. The region present in between hypodermis and endodermis is called as middle cortex. This middle cortex is composed of parenchyma cells. You know already, unique character of parenchyma. Cells are loosely arranged with intercellular spaces. Cells are loosely arranged with intercellular spaces. In rare cases, they are tightly arranged or compactly arranged. Next matter is endodermis. Okay, endodermis. Endodermis is the innermost layer of cortex. It is the innermost layer of cortex. Endodermis is a single wavy layer. It is a single wavy layer. Endodermis is also called as starch sheath. Endodermis is also called as starch sheath because the cells contain starch grains. I will repeat the cortex and take care. The region present in between epidermis and stele is known as cortex. Just for the sake of convenience, it is further differentiated into three zones or three regions: hypodermis, middle cortex, endodermis. Hypodermis is the outermost layer of cortex, or just below the epidermis. Hypodermis is present. It is made up of 3 to 4 layers of colon-chyma cells. Corner walls are thickened, and the main function of this colon-chyma is to provide mechanical support. The region present in between hypodermis and endodermis is called as middle cortex. It is composed of parenchyma cells. Endodermis is the innermost layer of endodermis is the innermost layer of the cortex. It is a single wavy layer. It is a single wavy layer. It is also called as starch sheath because the cells contain starch grains. Endodermis is also called as starch sheath because the cells contain starch grains. Last matter is stele. Okay. Now look over the last matter, stele. All the tissue which is present within the endodermis is called as stele. All the tissue which is present within the endodermis is called as stele. It is composed of pericycle, vascular bundles, medullary ray, and pith. All the tissue which is present within the endodermis is called as stele. It includes pericycle, vascular bundles, medullary ray, and pith. Now look over pericycle. Pericycle is the outermost layer of stele. Pericycle is the outermost layer of stele. It is composed of both parenchyma and sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is present in the form of semi-lunar patches immediately outside the vascular bundles. So now, just now we have come across pericycle. I will repeat the matter and take care. Pericycle is the outermost layer. Pericycle is the outermost layer of stele. It is composed of both parenchyma and sclerenchyma. But sclerenchyma is present outside the vascular bundles in the form of semi-lunar patches. Semi means half. Lunar is nothing but moon, half moon shaped structure. Pericycle is actually partly parenchymatous and partly sclerenchymatous. But sclerenchyma is restricted. It is present outside the vascular bundle in the form of semi-lunar patches. Next matter is vascular bundles. Already I covered the definition. Even though I will repeat the matter, the compact mass of xylem and phloem is known as vascular bundles. Compact means tightly arranged. The compact mass of xylem and phloem is known as vascular bundles. Here, vascular bundles are arranged in the form of ring. Vascular bundles are arranged in the form of ring. Then it is called as U-stele. So remember this word. In case of Dicot stem, vascular bundles are arranged in the form of ring, known as U-stele. Vascular bundles are conjoint, open, and enlarged. Here, explanation is not required. Only we have to mention the technical terms. Okay, but take care. Conjoint means xylem and phloem will lie on the same radius. In conjoint, xylem and phloem will lie on the same radius. Open means a strip of cambium. Open means a strip of cambium is present in between xylem and phloem. Enlarge. Look over the figure carefully. When metaxylem is towards the periphery and protoxylem is towards the center, then this condition is called as enlarge. Please remember 2 points related to vascular bundles. The compact mass of xylem and phloem is known as vascular bundles. In case of Dicot stem, vascular bundles are arranged in the form of ring, known as U-stele. Each vascular bundle is conjoint, open, and enlarged. Conjoint means xylem and phloem will lie on the same radius. If a patch of cambium is present in between xylem and phloem, then it is called as open type. When metaxylem is towards the periphery and protoxylem is towards the center, then this condition is called as enlarge. When metaxylem is towards the periphery and protoxylem is towards the center or pith, then it is called as enlarge. Next is medullary ray. The elongated parenchymatous cells that lies in between the two vascular bundle and connect to cortex is called as medullary ray. These are parenchyma cells which extend radially, the parenchyma cells, which extend radially in between the two vascular bundle and connect the cortex is called as medullary ray. Elongated parenchyma cells that extend radially in between the two vascular bundle and connect the cortex are called as medullary ray. A question arises, what is the function of this medullary ray? They will play a significant role in secondary growth. Medullary ray will play a significant role in secondary growth. Last point, teeth. Teeth is the center region of the stele. Teeth is the center region of the stele. It is made up of parenchyma cells. As you know already, cells are loosely arranged with intercellular space. Main function of the pith is storage of food. Look over here. Pith is the central region of the stele. It is made up of parenchyma cells. Cells are loosely arranged with intercellular space. Main function of the pith is storage of food. Lastly, please remember 2 points that will play a significant role in secondary growth. One, cambium. In case of dicot stem, vascular bundles are open type. Open means a strip of cambium is present in between xylem and phloem. Second, medullary ray. The parenchyma cells that extend radially in between the two vascular bundle and connect the cortex is called as medullary ray. That medullary ray will play a significant role in secondary growth.